Hello, wonderful people, to yet another episode of Sit Down with Goka Custodian. I remain your humble host, Omoba Ewosi, aka the Goka Custodian. Can you please hit the like button? Also, can you press the notification bell underneath this video so that way you don't miss out on any future videos from Goka TV. Today's episode is going to be titled, Do Africans and African Americans Hate Each Other? I feel this is like the tension has been brewing for so many years, and I feel like it's a big pot of boiling stew, and the pot keeps boiling. The temperature keeps increasing. It keeps increasing, and I believe one day it's just going to get so hot that it's just going to blow the lid right off the pot, and then the stew is just going to go all over the walls, and we don't actually want that to happen. So I believe it's very, very imperative that we come together as a black community, as a black race, and we sit down and iron all our differences, and we settle all our disputes, because that's the only way we're going to progress as a race. Because the black race, we're powerful, we're born to be kings, queens, to be rulers. But I don't think we're going to achieve anything if there's so much segregation and disunity between us. So we need to come together, and we need to, because of movements such as Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter is going to be seen as a credible movement, it's very, very important that African Americans and Africans come together and stand together in one united voice. So back to the topic. This whole issue about the tensions, animosity, or whatever, what have you, between African Americans and Africans, I think a lot of it has to do with the media as well, with all the images that have been projected on both sides. So I think it's very, very important that we need to remember that the media has a big role to play in all these negative stereotypes being projected to either side. I'll give you my own personal perspective as well, and my experiences. I remember, growing up in Nigeria as a young child, all the perception and the imagery of African Americans that we saw, they weren't all positive, if I've been honest. Because I remember we saw African Americans as this group of people that were always into crime, always living in low income housing. They went up to no good, always into criminal activities. They had baby mamas and sagging their pants and things of that nature. That was all we saw, but in the media, anyways. Even in the movies, these stereotypes were also being projected. They were always also being shown to us, anyways. And I remember as well, my first time in America, first time in America by myself, I should say. This was in 2005 in New York. I think I had a problem with my hotel accommodation, my bookings. So anyways, I ended up having to seek alternative accommodation. And this was really scary. This was about 12:30 in the middle of the morning. I must have been in Brooklyn or Flatbush. One of the two, anyways. I remember having my 2 suitcases with me and having my money on me as well. I think I had about $5,000, just for my shopping, spree, for about 10 days or so. And I remember, I was young. I was just about 19. I was really, really petrified. I was like scared, to be honest, because I saw this group of boys as well. I really wanted to ask them for directions, and I wanted to ask them for help, basically. But then, prior to that, everything I had always been told was, if you go to New York and you're not from a certain area and they don't know you, they're going to rob you, and they're going to take everything you have, and you might even get shot or something. So these were all thoughts that were going through my mind. Like, I don't want to get killed in America. I'm here by myself in the middle of nowhere. Nobody knows I'm here. Nobody knows me here. And these were just negative stereotypes that you have of people, and then it actually influences the way you react or the way you act to certain people, because of the negative information and the stereotype that you've had of them. And I'm sure it's the same way on the other side as well. I'm sure most African Americans don't have a very positive image of Africans as a whole. I know in the media I always say African kids, with malnutrition, with the swollen bellies, and and really skinny bodies, always asking for help for the African children. You see Africans as savages, or You see them as primitive. I'm sure that's the imagery that's been projected to African Americans as well. So on both sides, there needs to be learning and unlearning, the negative stereotypes. So we need to come together. We need to learn about each other. It's very, very important, because I speak to a lot of people on both sides as well. I speak to Africans that emigrated to America, and I speak to African Americans as well, of their relationships or their experiences with Africans, and most times they're not always positive experiences, and I always wonder why this is. I think the problem is that there's this wall, there's this silent wall between both sets of people. So obviously, before they even get into contact with each other, they have this certain belief about each other. They have this certain perception about each other, and it's obviously the way you act towards somebody else is always going to be governed by your perception the perception you have of them. So these are things that we need to address, and these are things that we need to iron out as well. And it's also very important to African Americans that Africa is not just one big tribe, because I speak to a lot of African American people online as well, because I have this online group as well for Goka, where we talk about culture, tradition, issues generally relating to Africa and the black race. And from the responses as well, it's like a lot of African Americans just think Africa is just one big tribe, like Wakanda, and maybe like the Masai Mara, comes to mind with the spears, and we still live in huts, and Africa is just one big place. But you have to remember there are more than 54 different countries in Africa, and Africa is such a huge, diverse, set of peoples, cultures, traditions, customs, what have you in Africa. Africa is big. Africa is really huge. We have North Africa, they have their own different culture. We have South Africa, West Africa, East Africa. I mean, Nigeria, where I'm from alone, we about 206 million people in Nigeria. So just imagine, and we have, I'm not exaggerating, we have more than 200 languages in Nigeria, just in Nigeria. So just think about the whole of Africa, combined. Even I'm Yoruba. That's the tribe I'm from in Nigeria. But then there's some other Yorubas that come from other places in Nigeria. If they speak Yoruba, I wouldn't even understand what they're saying, because they're speaking in a different dialect. So that just shows how diverse and how rich Africa is in terms of our culture, in terms of our peoples. So these are things that we need to learn, about ourselves. That Africa is not just one, and you need to stop, thinking Africa is just this place that it's been neglected and it's full of famine and suffering and hardship and hunger, because that's just far from the case. There's a lot of development going on in Africa right now, I'm telling you, and the whole world is trying to, get a piece of that cake. That's huge, in terms of globalization and modernization. The biggest development is going on in Africa right now. So shout out to my brothers like Black Acres of Gambia. They're an African American family that emigrated back to Africa, and they're documenting their experience on a day-to-day basis, and you definitely need to watch them. They call Black Acres of Gambia. They're doing really, really well, and it's good that they're sharing, projecting such a huge, such a positive imagery of Africa. Also shout out to my brother, my African brother, my Ghanaian brother, I should say, Wademaya. He's also a YouTuber. He's documenting Africa. He's visiting different African countries. He's basically just projecting the positive imagery and positive vibes of Africa in terms of development, in terms of opportunities. So check out Wodemaya as well. He's doing such a good job. And there's another brother, Uhuru, as well. He's an African American. He's been living in different African countries. He's just documenting all the positive, things about Africa. In terms of the culture, the languages, the people, the development, the opportunities. So these are all people that you need to watch, and these are things that we can learn from. We can learn from all these people, and in terms of their experiences, because 90% of the experiences have been positive about the motherland. So it's very, very important that both sides, we need to come together, and we need to learn about each other's culture, each other's struggles, each other's beliefs, each other's customs. Because I'm very, very sure we're the same. We bleed the same blood. We share the same ancestry. We only like distant cousins. We share the same African ancestry. The same African spirit is in us. Whether you're African American, whether you're Black British, whether as long as you're Black, you've got the African spirit, which is you win Yes, so it's very, very important that as Africans we learn about the history of our black brothers and sisters, that were taken forcefully from Africa. We learn about the major characters in the civil rights movement, in the history of our African American history. People like Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. So it's very, very important that as Africans we also, we are able to identify with the African Americans. This needs to happen on both sides. Also, as Africans, we need to stop having this belief that the average African American is just lazy and they just don't want to push themselves, or they don't want to, aspire in life. Because we have to understand that African Americans have gone through so many decades and centuries of injustice. They've gone through prejudice, they've gone through segregation, discrimination. So it's the American system itself is developed and designed, to keep the black man down. Full stop. The African Americans have to struggle. They can't get good jobs. They can't have access to quality healthcare, good education, and things like that. And they lock in a lot of black brothers and sisters, African Americans in prison, and which means the upcoming generation, they don't have father figures, for example, that instill all the values of respect and the way of doing things. They're not able to nurture the upcoming generation. So these are some of the struggles that they're going through as well. So we need to understand this as Africans, that the African Americans, they just like us, they're just Africans like us. They've got that African spirit, they're resilient. You could keep on beating them up, keep pushing them down. They're always going to get up and fight. Because I speak to a lot of African Americans, and I have a lot of African American friends, and they have this spirit as well. They want to learn. They always seek for knowledge. They always want to better themselves. They always want to educate themselves. They always want to push themselves. Start businesses, have ideas. African Americans are all respect and all love, because I think we're one. So I don't believe that African Americans and Africans hate each other. I only believe that we have more on learning to do, and learning about each other. We just need to educate each other. I just think we just misunderstand each other. So I don't believe that we hate each other. So on that note, I would like to wrap up this video. So make sure you drop your comments underneath this video. I want to know your thoughts, your perspective as well, or what do you think are the issues? If you're African, do you have any negative or experiences with African Americans? Also, if you are African American, do you have any negative experiences with Africans? Please just drop your comments. Let's go through all these issues. Let's iron them out. And let's sort everything out. So on this note, I'd like to end this video. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you haven't done so, please do subscribe and help this channel grow. Till next time, it's been a pleasure. See you.